Some of the curriculum that we've built up for our residents, which is really rich. We have a life plan workshop that's based on some of the work of Eckhart Tolle and Wayne Dyer, which is really finding the inner dream and the inner capability, which usually in most cases that I've worked with addicts and alcoholics, we have a story in our head of why we can't do this, why we could never accomplish this. And what we do is we find that inner dream. We use a series of written exercises to get it down on paper. And then we explore the possibilities with that. Are there action steps I can take to get from here to there?
I mean, not only do they need to figure out how to stay sober for good, but they also need to figure out how to live life as an adult man, and that's a whole nother thing that even guys that aren't drug addicts and alcoholics have to figure out, so we really partner with them to help them grow up and help them find a vision, because a lot of our guys are really paralyzed. They've fallen behind from their peers, like a lot of the guys they grew up with or went to school with, or already graduating from college or already getting master's degrees, getting married, and here they are, with barely a few credits and, a pretty depressing situation.
We want to make sure that they have the self-esteem and the foundation built through recovery first. That's going to be key. That's going to build up who they are, so when they go on an interview, they have that confidence where they can smile and kind of have some strength in that process. But we're going to show them how to, we're going to develop in our little work centers at the house how to put a resume together. These guys don't even have a resume. These are the failure to launch guys. We want to get a resume together for them and counsel them a little bit on what they want to do based on their personality. So if they're outgoing, they might be a sales guy, they might be an accounting guy, they might be a guy that likes to crunch numbers. He likes to sit behind a computer and be a tech guy. So we want to identify what they want to do kind of first and then give them an idea. But it's about getting them a resume, about getting them focused on what they might want to do. And so how do you do that? And we have to find out who the guy is in there, and we have to strip down all that fear, which is through the steps in the program.
So the cool thing that we do about that important part, once they get rooted in recovery, there's a really important part in which they start to transition. Before they start to transition to actually go back to school or get a job, we do a lot of stuff internally. Some of the cool things that we do, we hold our own career fair. So we hold a career fair internally and allow them to pick up different jobs and how to interview and that sort of thing. The other thing that we do is we do a hot seat job interview in which a guy will sit across from another guy and they'll make up a job, and the guy will have his resume and they'll have 2 minutes to really get hired, fired, or get a second interview. And so that sort of real life, on the spot sort of training is really, really important. We also have a staff member dedicated Monday through Friday that only deals with career and school. And so he's able to we've got guys that went to 7 or 6 different colleges, before the age of 30. They were able to collect the records and get them ready. And they advocate for them. Some of them don't have a great history, but we'll advocate for them. We'll cut deals with the local university to get them to a community college for a semester. And if they can prove themselves, then get them over to the university.
The Richardson area where the house is in the North Texas area, Dallas area, is a mecca, especially lately, for job opportunities. We've got, if you look at the U.S. Census Bureau on how many people are moving to North Texas, it's pretty astounding, the numbers. We've got $3 billion Richardson project that's still being built, and there's jobs all over the place right where the house is. We've got the DART line, the DART rail. Our transportation is pretty good for people that don't have a car or bicycle, so they can how are they going to get there? They can get there pretty easily. We'll drive them a lot of the time, but if they can't make it, we're going to get them on a train. We're going to get them Ubered over there. We're going to get them somewhere where they can get to the job interview or to the job site once they get a job.
The gift of recovery is that you're able to be free and do that stuff and not relapse. And so if they're not rooted in recovery, and what I mean by rooted in recovery, the first way is have they done all the 12 steps? They worked all 12 steps. Have they made amends to not just you as a family member, but other people outside that they owe amends to? That sort of thing. We want to at least get people to sample that and continue that process while they're at Chapter House. And so that's really, really important. Then we have an idea where someone's at, how willing they are in their recovery and what effort they're putting in there, because that's the same effort they're probably going to put in their job, or into their schoolwork. So if they're not able to do the recovery work, the recovery curriculum, there's no way they're going to be able to do any other curriculum.
So we don't want to send someone out to school prematurely or send someone out to a job prematurely or anything like that, and then they relapse, because now we're back to square one. So we want to get a good bead on their willingness to do the program, which we can only do by observation and see how they show up with some coaching, etc. And then also our case management and our team based off the assessments the doctor and the clinical team has given us, and they're starting to put that all together, and which really gives the guys confidence and they start to feel some hope.
And our goal is to help build them up and create something different in their life and eventually catch up with their peers and have something to feel good about, not only in their recovery, but in their life. You know, be back in school or in a job that they feel like they're growing in, and that they can be proud of that. That's really important for men.